Hi. If you could see me, you would see a woman frantically trying to pack for a move that should have taken place a week out, but now it was on that very day. I'm thinking, how in the world am I going to get all of this done? But nevertheless, on a Saturday evening, there I stood with my asthmatic self in the rain saying, God, what in the world have I done? How did I get here? But let's move on. After this horrific move, I get, about 2 or 3 days later, I get a phone call that says, your mom is ill. You need to go see her. I'm thinking, are you serious? Like, for real? Are you kidding me, God? I couldn't go. I had just gotten a new job. There was no way for me to make this trip right now. I was exhausted and didn't even know how to spell exhaustion. And I thought, okay, nothing else can happen. Nothing else can happen. This is within like 4 days, people, okay? How about 2 days later, I was diagnosed with a blood clot. And I thought, please, Lord, please, lift this burden from me, your child. But here we go. Is this familiar to you? Your head hurts, your chest hurts, you can't breathe, you got racing thoughts, they're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you're thinking, what in the world is happening? Is this real? Well, guess what? It was very real for me. And sometimes it still is my reality. Because it's some of the many, many symptoms of the episodes, of full-blown episodes of depression and the other stuff. And I'm the star of every single one of those episodes. If you could see me, you would see a disciple. Yeah, I am indeed a woman of God, licensed and ordained. Anybody need a wedding, a funeral, a Christian event tonight? I'm your woman. I'm your woman. I'm your woman. And I'm a woman who's been in church all of my life. That's all I really know. As a matter of fact, sidebar here, when somebody mentioned R. Kelly, I said, huh? Who? And all the hoopla around that. As another friend of mine said, don't tell anybody that story. So you guys can't tell that story. But what I want you to do now, I want you to stretch out both of your hands and make circles. Stretch them out, and I want you to put that in front of your eyes. Now, I'm going to give you a view from the lens of my life. I talked about being a disciple. I talked about being in the church. But that's not the kind of disciple I'm talking about. For our purposes tonight, a disciple is a student or a teacher of a particular belief, an ardent believer. And believe me, I was well discipled. For me, I was discipled not only as a Christian, but also in many diagnoses. In other words, I was discipled in mental health illness. I was ushered in. Y'all get it for the church people? Ushered in. It worked. I was ushered in to my discipleship of depression and the other stuff. As a child, I endured years of mental and emotional injustices. I had physical injustices done to me as early as the age of 5 at the hands of not only men, but women as well. So my trust factor was gone. My early childhood innocence was stripped away. My voice was, and my mental health was just skewy. And its place were distorted views about who I was and where I fit into the world. And those views became solidified in my very core. It became who I was at that time. A great example of emotional abuse came at the hands of my biological father. I was a daddy's girl, literally the stereotypical daddy's girl. And at age 9, my dad comes in the house and says, don't let me die. Now, I've got to give you the backdrop. It was after he had wrecked the company truck for the umpteenth time. He was a highly functioning alcoholic who never missed a day of work, who, seemed to be perfect. If you didn't know there was a problem, you wouldn't know there was a problem. But he said to me, looked at me and says, little girl, don't let me die. Guess what? About 2 weeks later, he did die. And I was left feeling like I had let him down. I had done something, or perhaps I had not done something that caused his death. Can you imagine what my little brain did? My little brain reconciled itself to say, it was my fault. I really did do this. I had something to do with this. If you could see me, you would see someone who had to control every aspect of her life, no matter what it was. Because when you're traumatized like that, in order to feel safe, you want to control everything. Every single thing, every single person, every single circumstance. And God really played a joke on me when he allowed me to birth my son, because he can't be controlled, okay? But in this control state, even in my relationships. So, well, let me just stop and I'm going to share a secret. You cannot tell. It's another secret. Mental health illness, read depression, what? And the other stuff will have you believe that it's okay to stand outside, to stoop outside actually, half naked in the middle of winter on a back porch as you hide from your lover's wife. It would have you believe that's an adventure. Baby, it ain't. You're going to get frostbit in unseen places. I promise you are. I promise you are. If you could see me, you would see that I was an excellent mental health illness disciple. I absorbed all the models set before me, all the behaviors that of keeping quiet, what goes on here stays here, all of that kind of junk. I totally got it, because guess what? I have perfectionistic tendencies. So what I did, I believed the models, I absorbed the patterns, behaviors, and attitudes, and then guess what? I then went into all the world, submerging, that's baptizing for you church folk, everybody into my beliefs. And I interacted from the residue of the diseases that I deal with today. I took Matthew 28:19 to heart. Look it up if you don't know it. I give you a hint. Go ye therefore. If you could see me, you could see the struggle I endured. I struggled as a woman of color. I struggled as a woman in ministry. And then a woman with mental health illness. I had a triple whammy. You see, in the faith community, mental health illness really doesn't exist. It's the open secret in the church. It's what we don't talk about that we really do need to talk about. So I struggled to be heard. And because of my perfectionistic tendencies and my wanting to please everybody based on childhood trauma, i.e. if you do what I say, it was a mess. That's all I can say. It was a mess. But if you can see me, you would know that I stood in every deliverance line that came up. And I got the side eye again and again and again. What is she doing here? Well, I didn't know either. I just knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was. But can I tell you this? If I had a penny for every time I stood in that sanctified line, I would be cleanly rich. Not filthy, but cleanly rich. If you could see me, you would understand that it is because of my faith that I am standing here today. You would clearly see the rock on which I stand, and that I am sure-footed in my faith, and I know for certain that my mental health illness diagnoses, they're not punishment from God, and no ma'am, no sir, he did not abandon me. If you could see me, you could discern how I long for you to see Tara and not my diagnoses. You would see that I'm yearning for you to get to know me for who I am and what I have to offer the world, and perhaps to you personally. If you could see me, then perhaps you would see that 1 in 4 people are going to be diagnosed with a mental health illness of some sort this year. And maybe you could see that the person beside you really wants to tell his or her story, but they're too afraid because of the stigma of mental health illness. If you could see me, then there might be a chance that you would see that having a lived experience of depression and the other stuff doesn't mean I'm not capable of making valuable and worthwhile contributions to the world. It just means that I have a diagnosis just like any other illness that needs to be treated. If you could see me, you would see that being discipled in depression, and the other stuff, has led to a life that is unfolding in the most amazing ways. You would know that being diagnosed with a mental health illness is not a death sentence. It just means that I have to show up differently abled in this world to make my contributions. You would see that I am empowered and I am stretched to make an impact that is unique. You would see that this is my destiny. In the words of elder and songwriter Stephen Hurd, I know what I'm here for. And Paraphrasing Esther 4 through 14, referencing Esther 4 through 14 of the Voice Translation Bible, it says, "Perhaps I have been made queen for such a time as this. If you could see me, then perhaps you could see yourself." Thank you.